I want to talk about something that no one else is talking about, which is Citigroup and other banks that closed down their Russia location, and all the corporations that had borrowed money to start their businesses in Russia that ended up closing down. So simply put, we're going to have, in my opinion, massive defaults in our banking system. For example, if you look at Citigroup, they had a lot of money they lended out in Russia to all these businesses and individuals. Now that they have pulled away from that country, what's going to happen to all the borrowers? Are they going to still make payments? I bet that majority of them will not make payments because there's no consequences, there's no recourse for them to make payments, as the corporation Citigroup doesn't operate in that country anymore. So we're going to see a lot of debt on Citigroup balance sheet that's going to go into default. Now, if you guys remember the last crash, 2008, it only took one corporation to go belly up to cause a liquidity crisis for many other businesses, insurance companies, bankers to go belly up. And that's why we had Big Brother bail out all the stinky bankers in the last crash. Now, all it takes is just one bank to go belly up, and there's going to be a lot of other companies exposed to that bank, from insurance to so many different things, that they're all going to go belly up. Okay, in a domino effect, because we're in a fractional reserve lending policy. That's our banking policy. Okay, central bankers fractional reserve. There's debt on top of debt on top of debt. No one has the real asset. So that's one dimension, that when Citigroup and other banks in Russia that go in default, how is that going to affect the actual holding of the debt for that specific bank? Okay. The other thing I want you to think about is that all these corporations like Apple, like McDonald's, like all these other guys, there are so many that now have closed down their locations in Russia. How is that going to affect their equities? Once they start reporting to the SEC that, they have so much losses because they're closing down a whole country, how is that going to affect their equities? And then how is that going to affect pensions, retirements, 401s, and so on and so on? Because a lot of these companies have these equities in their profile, okay, and individuals. So that's point number two. Point number one was bankers are going to go belly up because of all the debt, and it's going to trickle down, okay. Point number two is that there are a lot of corporations that were in Russia, from McDonald's to Apple and so many other ones, that now this season of reporting, they're not going to be able to hit their expectations. They're going to come way short. On top of that, sales are going to be way shorter than before. And that's going to have an effect on everyday people, equities, their stocks, their 401s, their retirement, their pensions. Okay. Now, the other thing I want you to understand is, now there are so many companies in Russia that had borrowed money. Okay. And how that's going to affect what's happening with all these corporations leaving. How is that going to hurt the banking sectors, all those lenders? How is that going to affect them? Okay. So we're in a situation where there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of debt. A lot of the banks are pulling out of Russia. A lot of corporations are going to pull out, and there's a multi-level default coming, in my opinion, okay, from the bankers themselves, from their stocks themselves, from, the corporations that borrowed money from them, to the corporation stocks themselves, and it's just going to be a trickle-down effect, in my opinion, that can be another Lehman's Brother moment in America, but no one's talking about that. No one's talking about all the millions of dollars and billions of dollars that will lend to Russia, and more than likely Russia is going to, Russian corporations, Russian entrepreneurs, Russian individuals, that majority of these people are probably going to default. So interesting times ahead. I think there's going to be massive sell-offs in the equity. We may get one more big pump, but that will be it, in my opinion. For sure, the dollar is damaged. It's not going to be the world reserve currency anymore, considering that, with all the new sanctions and, the dollar's not a neutral player anymore. Okay, it hasn't been for a while. Actually, it's been weaponized. So interesting time. I think that this is going to trickle down to real estate as well. It's going to trickle down to the stock market, and we're going to have a lot of opportunities in front of us and a lot of pain. All right. Thank you for clicking the like button. Thank you for leaving a comment. It really helps out the algorithm. And always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined. Romy.